First off, the most important thing that we ought to all put in our minds is this is life-threatening. We have not had a hurricane in years. So many people have moved to our state, and we always have visitors. This storm, hurricane, is life-threatening. We just finished with an update from the National Hurricane Center. We are going to start seeing the impacts of Hermine this afternoon, and we're going to have landfall at 2 o'clock, around 2 o'clock in the morning. We are under hurricane watch, and we're under a storm warning. It's going to impact us from the Tampa Bay area all the way to Pensacola. But let's all remember this. Prepare. This is life-threatening. I don't want to put anyone's life at risk, and I don't want to put any rescuer's life at risk. Here's the things that are going to happen. We're going to have significant storm surge, as much as 8 feet. 3 to 5 feet, but as much as 8 feet. In the Nature Coast and Big Bend. Citrus County, Levy County, Dixie County, Taylor County, Wakulla, and Franklin. That storm surge by itself is life-threatening. We're going to have significant winds, 70 to 75 mile an hour winds. We're going to have significant power lines down. We're going to have a lot of downed trees across the state. We're going to have significant rain, 5 to 10 inches of rain, but depends on when the bands are, 20 inches of rain. We are going to have flooding. We're going to have storm surge, wind, rain. We're going to have flooding. All of this together, and parts of it by itself, are life-threatening. We have significant risk for tornadoes in Central and North Florida. Some counties, a portion of the county, has mandatory evacuations, but only a portion of the county. Those are Franklin, Wakulla, Taylor, Dixie, and Levy. A portion of those counties, a portion have mandatory evacuations. Franklin, Wakulla, Taylor, Dixie, and Levy. 3 counties have voluntary evacuations. A portion of the county, voluntary evacuations. Walton, Jefferson, and Gulf. If you have any question about whether you're in an evacuation zone, call your emergency management office, call your sheriff. You can go to floridadisaster.org/public mapping. floridadisaster.org/public mapping. You can find it out there, or you can go to 850-921-0217. 850-921-0217. And it's floridadisaster.org/public mapping. Take the evacuation seriously. Think of the storm surge, potential of 8 feet of storm surge. The information we'll receive will continue to change, so there'll be more information that will be coming out. Just remember this: we cannot rescue you in the middle of a storm. You're responsible as we go through this storm. We will do everything we can to help you prepare, but you are responsible. Once we can send first responders safely to help you, we will. But hopefully, if everyone's prepared, that will not happen. Charge your cell phone. You don't know when you're going to lose power. We could be out of power for days. We could be out of power for weeks in some places. Charge your cell phone. You should be getting on your cell phone these emergency information. If your cell phone is dead, you cannot get it. So charge your cell phone and keep your cell phone charged. You have no idea when you might lose power. Today, I closed the state offices at noon. That was to allow state workers the opportunity to prepare. More than 20 counties have now closed their schools. If you have any questions about school closures, call your superintendent's office. I did a state of emergency in 51 counties. That's a majority of our state. The goal is when we do those, it's a way for everyone, makes it easier for everybody to work together, the locals, the state, and federal all to work together. Now, this is going to happen today. We're going to have landfall right after midnight. You still have time to prepare. What should you be doing? Now, if you want to, you can go to flgetaplan.com. But think about this. 3 days of water, 3 days of food. If you need medicine, make sure you have it. You have no idea if you'll be able to get it after the storm hits. Have batteries. Have a battery-powered radio. You have no idea if you're going to lose power. If you need to go to a shelter, go now. Don't wait. If you or a family member might need a special needs shelter, find out and go now. If you need a pet shelter, find out and go now. Take care of your neighbors. If we all work together, we'll come out of this storm, hurricane, in good shape. We have already mobilized some of our units some of our units are already ready in our National Guard and have already pre-positioned assets. We have 6,000 members of National Guard ready to mobilize. We are blessed. We have a great National Guard. Our utilities have already pre-positioned assets, and they have joint operating agreements where they share in a time of emergency across state lines all over the country. We have great utilities in our state, and they're going to do everything that they can, but it all depends on how much flooding we have, how much storm surge we have, how many power lines are down, how many trees are down. That will determine how fast they can bring our electricity back up. The Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission has special operations forces. They have search and rescue teams. They have boats. They're ready. But remember this, they cannot rescue you during a storm. They cannot rescue you during a storm. You have to be prepared. I've been talking to local elected leaders. I've been talking to sheriffs today. If you have a question, they are very focused on your safety, call them. Call your sheriff's office. Call your emergency management teams. Call your mayor's office if you have any questions about anything happening locally. Once the storms happen, we're going to have a lot of water. We're going to have flooded roads. Don't drive into water. Don't think your car can make it or your truck can make it. Don't drive into it. Don't touch a down power line. Call your utility as soon as you see it. Do not touch it. I don't want to see anybody harmed because of driving into standing water or touching a power line. Think about all your neighbors. Protect each other. We have a great state. We care about each other. If you know anybody that has a need, call them. Find out what they need. Go to their door. Make sure they're prepared. Remember, we have shelters open across the state. If you think you need to go to a shelter, don't wait, go now. As you know, we are dealing with trying to prevent any increase in the number of cases of Zika we have in the state. And you've heard the message with Zika, we want no standing water. Well, we're going to have some standing water as soon as this happens. So it's incumbent upon all of us, as soon as this storm passes, as soon as we can, safely get rid of standing water, do it. Do it at your house, do it at your business, do it at places where you visit. If we want to continue the progress we made with regard to Zika, we've got to be very diligent as soon as this storm's over and we can safely get rid of standing water. In a few minutes, I'll be going to the Wakulla County Emergency Operations Center at the Sheriff's Office. We'll be meeting with local emergency individuals, and I'll be helping residents there prepare. Bottom line, it's life-threatening. We're going to see big storm surge. We're going to see a lot of rain. We're going to see flooding. We're going to see down power lines. We're going to see there's going to be a lot of risk if we don't do our job. Everybody needs to be prepared. We are blessed. We have the best emergency management teams in the country, at the state and at the local level. We have a great National Guard, but you have got to take this seriously. I'll be glad to answer any questions that anybody has.
Governor, on the subject of Zika, you've got some state workers going home to prepare for the storm, but there's still Zika prevention and testing going on. How does Hermine affect the state's Zika combat?
Sure. The most important thing is everybody's got to be safe. So right now, we have got to prepare for this storm. So that's why I closed down the state offices in the 51 counties at noon so people could get prepared. The counties where they don't, they're going to continue to do their hard work. But right now, I want everybody prepared for this storm.
Governor Scott, you called Hermine a hurricane, but from my understanding, it's still technically a tropical storm.
It's a tropical storm.
So can you talk about, do you expect it to be a hurricane when it makes landfall, or just clarify the timing?
The National Hurricane Center anticipates it will become a hurricane. It's not a hurricane yet, but let's think of the difference. It's going to be, what the estimate is, it's 70 to 75 miles per hour winds. So whether that ends up being at the low end of that and it's a tropical storm, or at 75 and it's a hurricane, it's going to be a lot of wind. It's going to be a lot of storm surge. It's going to be a lot of flooding.
Governor Scott, I believe that the Tallahassee is just to the right, I think, of where the eye is going to pass. That's what it says right now. That's probably the largest population that the storm is going to affect, is my understanding. What are some specific operations or maybe even concerns that you have of it hitting the capital city?
We have a lot of beautiful trees in Tallahassee. There's going to be a lot of trees that go down, so which means we're going to lose power. We're going to see flooding. So the biggest, I've already talked to the mayor, the biggest concerns I have right now would be that with this wind, we're going to see down trees, we're going to see down power lines, we're going to see flooding, and so all of us have to be prepared. The storm surge, of course, is going to happen along the coast, so those are my biggest concerns.
Governor, it doesn't seem that Pensacola will be hit that hard. Why shut down state offices out there then?
I don't want to why take any chance? I want everybody to be safe. I can't imagine anybody not wanting to be safe in this. We don't know exactly what happens. If you go back, and I remember when Andrew, back in '92, because I had a bunch of hospitals down in Miami, at the last few minutes it turned. And I had a hospital completely demolished because of that. We evacuated hospitals probably 10 miles, 15 miles north of there, 2 hospitals I evacuated. At the end, it turned in the last few minutes. So I'm not going to take any chance.
Governor, and perhaps Director Kuhn as well, from a little bit that I saw, it looked like some areas of Tampa and St. Pete were already seeing some flooding and stuff like that. Have you guys gone through and made any decisions about how many resources here to send out to other parts of the state, and how many to keep in reserve for the brunt of the storm, aftermath of the brunt of the storm in this area?
Sure. I mean, we work hard to take care of every county. I've already talked to Sheriff down in Hillsborough County, make sure if there's any local needs they have, we fulfill those. We have, if you follow what we do with our calls, and on top of that, you can do it through email. If there's any needs, we try to fulfill them. That's why we have potential of 6,000 National Guard members. That's why we pre-position assets all along where we believe the issue is going to be. So we believe that if everybody does their job at the local level and we do our job, that we're going to be able be very responsive, and the utilities will also.
Governor Scott, do you have any updated idea about when we're expecting it to become a hurricane?
I don't know, Brian, you want to add?
It would be sometime this afternoon. Generally, the Hurricane Center will go through and do an update about 2 o'clock, and then the next forecast will come out at 5 o'clock. So I would look at one of those 2 time frames if it had reached the wind strength by then. So I'd look at, again, the 2 o'clock update or the 5 o'clock would probably be the time when they recategorize it.
Got one more for you guys. You've already mentioned 3 days of water, 3 days of food. What else do people need to do if they're sheltering in place?
Well, I'd have the food, I'd have the water, I'd have make sure I have a lot of batteries on anything that I need. It's probably a little bit late, but if you have a generator, make sure you have all the fuel for the generator. You've got to make sure you have a battery-powered or hand-powered radio so you can continue to hear what updates. Make sure your phone is charged up. If you lose power, it's going to be difficult, but you're going to get updates through the phone. But just think of anything else you might need if you're out of power. Now, what your local emergency management teams will be doing, what we'll be doing, is if we do have power outages, things like that, we will provide as much service as we can. But again, if there's a lot of needs in the beginning, you're going to be, they'll be assessed based on the biggest need first.
For people in mandatory evacuation areas, how far do they need to evacuate? What's the recommendation on that? And if it's just outside of those counties, do the surrounding counties like Leon have the capacity to take in not just their own residents, but I'm talking about shelters, but for residents as well?
Yeah. They just need to get away from where the storm surge is. So in almost all of those cases, they can evacuate within their own county. Those counties have shelters set up in their counties that are dry. So they just need to get away from the coastline to get away from where that storm surge is going to be. There are also adjacent counties who would have shelters set up, Leon County, for example. But for all of those counties that have mandatory evacuations, there are shelters within those counties that they can go to spend the night.
Director, how worried are you after 11 years without a hurricane that people just might not listen to what you or the governor are saying?
I think that with all of your cooperation here, those folks are heeding that warning. They understand how potentially deadly the storm surge can be. They understand how much rain we're going to get. They understand the potential for tornadoes. They understand the potential for hurricane force winds and even gustier winds this evening. So again, I think that we have done a good deal of messaging over the last few days, and we've seen a lot of cooperation from our broadcast partners, from the print media, on helping inform Floridians. So I'm confident at this point that everybody who's going to be impacted by this storm is at least aware of it and understands the things they need to do to be safe.
Sure. Hey, Governor, where are you going to be during the storm? I don't think you're going to be going anywhere too far away.
I'll be in Tallahassee.
Here at the EOC?
I'll be here part of the day, and I'm going down to Wacola in a few minutes. All right, anything else? All right, thanks everybody.